Welcome in, beautiful souls. If you're new here, my name is Jane. And if you're returning, I'm so glad that you are here. I had a really big download this morning, and I'm getting a lot of interference as well. So, just try to ignore the froggy voice that I have going on. Um, the reason why I believe there's so much negativity going on right now is because, well, for several things, Spirit had asked me to wash down my divination table here with a purification, and also they had me wash my hands in salt water, and they had me cover my mirror. So I believe that things could be reflecting back at you in a negative way, and I'm not really sure why that is, because the download I received is about premonitions. And when I was pulling out my decks, I was shuffling. I started shuffling. I pulled this one out first, and I started shuffling it, and these cards fell out. So I didn't really want any other cards popping out before I did my pre-download information. So I just pulled all the rest of my decks out and set them aside here. So you'll have to be a little bit patient while I do a little bit of shuffling of them. Okay, so this is about premonitions. This reading is all about premonitions. So they want me just to talk a little bit about I guess about how premonitions work. So how this goes, and I'm going to use myself as a little bit of storytelling, because these are things that have some of these things have happened to me throughout the years. So this could be something that is going to start happening for you, because they told me that you've closed out a cycle and a new one is beginning, and that more integration of your mind, body, and spirit is going to happen. And there could be like a shift in a different direction, or just in odd direction. They didn't really tell me anything specific. They said that you really have to move with faith through this, though. And they were bringing up the saying from Isaiah. I don't know how to say these, but it's 40:31. I don't know how to read the Bible, so you just have to bear with me when it comes to Bible stuff. But this is what they gave me was, the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. So, and what they did is they showed me an eagle, and they showed me an elephant. So elephants are all about strength and grounding, compassion, all kinds of different things. And also, like in Hinduism, the elephant Ganesha, I don't remember which, is the god of beginnings. So, and then with the eagles, that is like a divine connection, and it's about truth and clarity and spiritual guidance, divine protection. So, and then there was like a little saying there too, was with Isaiah, was those who were once weak can become strong through faith and divine assistance. So I don't know if you feel weak, or what's going on with that. Um, I don't know if I think you've been saying things like, God give me strength. And if you've been saying, God give me strength, that's what God's going to bring you, is strength. And the only way to get to strength is through hardships. So that can be a little discerning. But okay, so I'm just going to keep going on here. So a prognitive, they kept coming up with a precognitive omen. And those are like dreams and visions. And these are like signs that appear, that provide us information about upcoming future events. And they were reminding me of I've had several over the years, but the one that they reminded me of when I was getting this download was, I had dreamt about my father's passing. So I'm going to go into that further at the end, because it explains a little bit more later. So it says, they told me how you know that you're having a precognitive omen, and this is from experience too. So it's like the dream or the vision will be very vivid and emotionally intense. It will involve people and places, and and this comes from a place that you have no present knowledge of it. You know what I mean? Like it's just like you'll just wake up from a dream and be like, you know, like heavy breathing, like wide awake, thinking like, what was that? Like, oh my God. And then of course it'll play on you. And then, you could have like an emotional response to it through like crying or anger or, anything along those lines, or like despair. You know what I mean? And it'll linger too. It won't just like be there for like an hour. Sometimes like that can linger for a few days, depending on how striking or vivid the emotional response that it creates, right? So, you know, there's no scientific, like mainstream science, basically. They call it like, they call mainstream science, they call precognitive omens pseudoscience, because they have no physical way to measure it. So, I guess that's where it all comes back to, like, the faith, right? Like, although people, they believe in God or they believe in angels, like, it- has anyone ever seen God? No, of course they haven't, because you would not be able to look in such intense light, because really God is light. God is the light of the universe and love of the universe. So, when people use the word God, it really means the one, the source of all light, the creator, I guess you could use. Now, the thing is, like, you, I mean, I don't know how to explain it. Like, you can look into the sun, but it's not something that you can do for a prolonged period. And now, the light of the universe, the one, the creator, the light is actually so bright that even angels have to shield their eyes, because the light is so bright and intense. You know what I mean? So, where science can't measure something, they consider it to be, um, what is it that, like, they would put it on the lines of, Bigfoot, mermaids, you know, unicorns, dragons, that kind of thing. But, like, those are things that I think that they just try to hide from the majority of people. The same as like with, like giants, like they say that they're not real, but yet they do say that it's in the Bible. So like there are certain things in the Bible that speak truth. Like they even talk about unicorns in the Bible. So the fact that they try to then turn around and hide it, it's almost like they put the truth out there, but then in everyday life they try to deny it. I don't understand why they try that. I think it's to create division in people's psyche. Anyway, so back to this. Like, sorry, I got on a tangent. So these, like when you're receiving like these kind of dreams or visions, these are going to be divine messages, spiritual insight, or psychic abilities. So omens like imply that um that they're, if you go with the Bible, that they are prophetic, right? And that I'm going to tell you that I did a little research on it like throughout the years, and at least the majority of people, like 60% of people, have them. They have these dreams, they or visions, you know what I mean, of things that are going to happen. Like you can even hear about, like, for instance, like people that have like before 9/11, with the collapsing of those buildings, the twin towers, they there were people that actually dreamt about that. So same with like plane crashes and all kinds of different things. If you kind of do a little research, you'll find all kinds of different things. So if you're having anything like that, don't dismiss it right away. This is where like you're going to be moving closer to your faith, and this is like really important for you at this time. And just because I think there's a lot of negativity going on around here, and I'm not really sure why the negativity came in the way it did, because it was interfering with my throat chakra. They had me wash my hands with salt water. They had me cleanse my table here. They had me, do a little bit of different things. So, and then plus where they showed me the elephant, where the elephant is all about emotional balance and power and strength with the wisdom, and it's about spiritual awakenings. Um, and also elephants are like in Hinduism is about, with Ganesh, it's about the removal of obstacles. Okay, so I think that's all that they wanted me. Oh yeah, so they did want me to talk about the reason why I brought up, they reminded me of my father's passing was, and the dream that I had about it was because there's two types of precognitive um, omens. Now, one is direct. So you just, again, like you see the plane crash, you get a dream like not to get in that car or get on that plane or get on that cruise ship or whatever, right? But then there's the ones that are like an interpreted type. So those, or they call them metaphorical, which those are the ones that require analysis. Now, the reason why they brought that up with me was because for me, like when I had the dream of my father passing, I didn't have an actual dream of him like in a coffin or anything like that. I had a dream of, I knew I was at a funeral, and I was standing in my mother's home, and I was standing on a diagonal looking at her sitting in a chair wearing this that she was wearing a shirt that had these big red roses on them. And I was just, when I was very upset when I woke up, and I thought it was about her death coming. And I was just like, like, well, she doesn't even own that kind of shirt. So it took me like 3 weeks to decipher what it was really about. And it was so emotionally intense that I couldn't let it go. So every day, for like a couple hours a day, it just kept reminding me over and over and over about this dream, and I just couldn't like shake it, right? And then I realized after about 3 weeks that, like, well, I saw my mother, so why would they show me her if it was her passing? And then I realized it was about my father. And 6 weeks later, he certainly did end up, well, actually, I think it was about 6 weeks after the dream. So another additional 3 weeks after I figured it out, it was him. He ended up in the hospital, and then, he just slowly, within 6 weeks from that date, he was gone. Now, I still didn't understand about the shirt that she was wearing, because my mother just wore like plain colors. Like she never wore things like with bold patterns on them. So I thought that it was really odd that I saw, and that's what struck me so much in that dream. And I knew like the entire family was there, though I was just focused on her. Uh, it's funny too, because like the day of his funeral, she literally wore that shirt, and it blew my mind. So so that's the difference. Okay, so that could be happening with you. So let's just move on to this reading here. So these cards flew out. So we're going to start with these, and I'm just going to turn them over, and then I'll pull out some more here. Oh, sorry. Start from the bottom. Okay, so we have light, Mayat, duet, Sayat. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing these right. And then Sa. Okay, wow. When I see Mayat, I I read once, and I don't know if it's true, People that have that M on their palms, I have an M on both palms. And then they talk about the the crescent moon. So the crescent moon, so I have like a crescent moon, so that goes like that. Plus I have the M's on both hands. So I never knew what that meant. And I actually want to get into doing palm reading like years ago, but I just never got around to it. Maybe it's something I'll take up soon. Anyway, so moving on. The This is a lot of information that they're talking about right here because the light, it almost looks like the church, what do you call that? Those not, is it stained glass? I think it's called stained glass. And it has like the sun, it has the light coming down. And this almost kind of reminds me of like the Hierophant and guiding somebody. So this is, I believe that this is about, I mean, this card represents happiness. It represents the light is being cast onto something. It's about like the sun is rising, but like as a sunset or sunrise, like it's a gradual thing. That's something that, it takes a little bit of time. It's not something that, boom, it's light and then boom, it's dark. It has to go through that graduation of light. Because it actually has a lot to do with duat, because duat is about the two different, like the light and the dark, basically, right? Okay, so the transition, I guess. So Maya is really about justice and truth and balance. So I think that's why they brought up the elephant to me. And that's probably the light. That's probably why they brought up the eagle, because light represents, you know, well, I mean, without light, there's nothing. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing without the light. So for this card, I believe though there's going to be some kind of light cast or shone onto something that's coming in your life or that's going on in your life, or I'm not really sure what they want to tell me here. You could be like feeling really stagnant. I think that's really the biggest thing here. And then we have duat. Duat or duat? Duat. Duat. Duat is about the underworld. It's about judgments and punishment. So this is about this card is all about like tests. It's about receiving tests from the universe. And then remember I was talking about earlier about how the Hindus Ganesh, like the elephant, how it's like the god of beginnings. Well, and how it's like the removal of obstacles. So this could be because there's obstacles in your path right now or coming into your path. And I'm thinking they're coming in because we have this card here. She is like a bookworm. So she's all about like news and communication and the written word. So you could be receiving something, some kind of contract or letter or email or text or something that's going to be, it's about, and duet because it's like a time of difficulty, because it's like a testing period. So I believe that you could be going through some kind of testing period, or that's what's going to be coming up in your new cycle. And if that's the case, because that's how you gain strength, right? Especially, that's why they were bringing up in my pre-download about having the faith. And saw here, this is about authority and guidance and strength. So this is like, you could have like some kind of struggle with authority. And it's funny too, because this card also is like about a father figure. Now that could either be like like an earth father, like a DNA family father, or it could be like the divine father of the universe. Okay. So I just need a little sip here. I don't think I missed anything here. You know, duat is all about has a lot to do with, you know, like the school of hard knocks, basically, and resilience. And, you know, it also reminds me of like a sheriff's badge. Bath. I don't know what that means. You know, and with this eye, it kind of gives me like the evil eye too. So, you know, I don't know if this is the eye of the universe looking out for you, which I believe there's a lot of protection here. You know, just because of this card here, like, you know, this is like a divine guidance or, you know, and that's basically what the download was about. Now they want me to bring out this an angel number here for you. Okay, let's see here. If you hear weird noises, it's because my dog is in the background snoring. She was up half the night throwing up. I think she might have eaten something in the woods yesterday when I had her out. Reshape. Oh my God. Oh, look, new beginnings. So it's going to be an adventure. Yeah, 1414. That's going to be an adventure. You know, I was getting, yeah, so see all these cycles? You know, I was just talking about the light and the dark. It's like, this is like the sun rising. I think that's what this is. Just like this one. Wow. And then the reshape. You know, this is, again, like what I was saying, if you were calling out, like, God, give me strength. If you're using words like that, if you say that kind of stuff, then you're going to be given strength, all right. And you only can get that strength through hardships. So, I don't know. Let's see here. Oh my goodness. I got a mess going on here. Okay, let me move some of this stuff out of the way. Okay. Okay, let's see here. So you're definitely starting a new cycle, just like I was saying there. Okay. You know, the thing is, like, I could just sit here and give you like these downloads, but Spirit wants me to show you the cards, so it gives you some kind of entertainment or I don't know what it is. They told me early on when I started doing this is that humanity needs entertainment and it's part of the human psyche and it's the only way to hold people's attention. So that's why they have readers use cards. Okay. I had sudden pressure on my forehead here, so I don't know. The self-help book. Okay, they want me to bring out one of these. The sequel. Kind of reminds me of the towers of the that are on either side of the high priestess, or even the moon with all the secrets, all the knowledge in these books. Okay, I'm gonna leave that up. Okay, here we're gonna. On the bottom. bottom. Boundaries. Where do you need to establish better boundaries? You see all these people, all these hands. I kind of get the impression that your boundaries are going to be tested. This is one of the tests that you're going to have to go through, because this card here is all about tests, being tested. So I think this might be your new cycle, is about how you're going to, with your boundaries. Okay, so we're going to keep that up too, so I can, the bottom of all the cards that I pull out are very much a part of the reading. And I'll also tell you something that's funny. Every time I bring out these Egyptian cards, my cat comes in for the reading. And I'll tell you, he's a stinker, because he keeps me up half the night, running in and out, or meowing, or he's just testing me all the time. So because he's here, and because he's so important to the Egyptian people, and cats were considered protection against evil, also they can see into and behind the veil, you know what I mean? They can see into the realms that we cannot. And he does kind of freak me out sometimes, because he'll just sit there and stare at something like above my head, or something on the wall, or yeah, it's unnerving sometimes. Okay, Spirit. Princess, you can be your own knight. Number 1, that's all about beginnings. See, she's cleaning her blade. Yeah, you better get ready for battle, I heard. Get ready for battle. You have a lot of things that are coming up. Look, and then we have garden here right underneath it. Oh my gosh, Spirit. So we have, they were saying, like, get ready for battle when they showed me this. And then, like, behind it is something lovely will grow from this. You see, I have her sword here. And look at this little flower growing. And then right behind it is a universe. We are all just stardust. In the Saturn, that's all about time. There's like a timing that comes with it. Okay. Sorry about all the huffing and puffing here, because the energy is swirling around me. That is something too they did mention to me about time. To mention that time for humans is linear, but really the Spirit sees the universe does not, time is not a thing in the universe. So they were talking about, just to remind everybody that these, when you ever receive these messages, they're timeless, because they were saying that they were bringing up about the equinox before I did this reading. And I was like, because we're coming into the spring equinox, I think on the 20th of March, and I don't know what date we're on, 16th or something. So, I mean, it doesn't have to do with this equinox, but every time there is the switch from spring to fall, like, that's a new cycle, basically, right? Whoa. Oh my God, look. First light, no joke. Beginning a new cycle. I just said that. Breaking trail. A breakthrough is at hand. Okay. So first light. So you have light here, and then you have first light there. I was just talking about look at that. It looks like the sun and the moon, a quarter of the moon. You have that again over here, the sun. Wow. Yeah, there's going to be, and I was just talking about the equinox. And here it looks like he's harvesting. There's going to be a big harvest. Well, great adventure. Take a risk. Venture forward. There's like a Viking boat. And they did a lot of traveling Navigate it by the stars. Follow your bliss. They brought out the star card in that other deck too. Okay. No, it's this one here. They were trying to show me. Ascending the mountain. Keep going forward. Yeah. Okay. You know, they were bringing up that navigating the stars. Look, I split it again on navigating the stars. Crossing bridges. It's time for healing, connecting, mending, and releasing. Yeah, I think that's what this next phase is going to be for you, because they're talking about the boundaries, and that's how they're going to test your boundaries. So you're going to be triggered a lot. You're going to have a lot of triggering things happening in the next year, I want to say, in this next season, because they're bringing up about the stars, and they're here about the stardust here, you know, and they're showing like a quarter of the moon here. Okay, so there's something about this quarter moon, because they keep bringing up the quarter moon. They have it here, they have it here, they showed it, and they're showing it here. Also, they had me bring up both the quarter moon on my hands. Salt's really dried my hands out. They feel really tight. Okay. All right. That's why they're saying that you can be your own knight. You can be your own. It's going to turn you into a warrior or something. You know, when I brought this deck out, this is the Ascension deck, Ascension Seeds or something like that. When I brought this out and I split the deck, the card was be the light, see the light, be the light, or you're the light, something like that. See the light, be the light. Okay. Oh, the unknown, look. Like I was saying, the spirits talks about time as a circular. Sorry. Confusion. You know, and it's funny. My cards are usually not upside down, but then there's like this section here where they're upside down. I always cleanse these before I start, so. Okay. Oh, Spirit. Come together. Oh my gosh. You know, this I believe is about the light and the dark. Oh, okay. That's why they keep bringing up like the light and the dark, and they kept bringing up about how like when the sun comes up, because in Egypt they felt that every time the sun went down every night, that the sun basically went to the underworld. And Duat is about the underworld. And then every morning it was like rebirth. It was like reborn every day. Let it go. Okay. So yeah, they're definitely talking about some hardships that are coming in, and you're going to have to work through these. It's going to help merge your shadow self within the light. Like this is where you're going to have to learn to accept all the parts about you, all the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay. Okay, I heard you're going to be facing darkness or something. Face the dark. Accept the dark. asking me to take this card here. Your well-being. Okay. That's the thing again. Oh, shadow underneath. Empath and empathy and compassion. Okay. Okay, I'm going to bring out a few more oracle cards here. Okay. It's on the bottom. Setting boundaries, just like I said. This is definitely about your boundaries. Your testing is all going to be about your boundaries. Yeah. Yeah. Because it has to do with your well-being. Yeah. Okay. And then one more. Whoa. Yeah. I figured that this testing is going to be about your boundaries. So if this testing is going to be about your boundaries, then, that's why they showed me the elephant, because the elephant is all about family. Oh my gosh, Spirit. What's going on? Oh, look, that card was on the bottom when I started this. Okay. They really pointed out number 44 here, and that's number 44, which is about authority and guidance and the father figure with the struggle with authority. Because if you're struggling with authority, that might go hand in hand with these boundaries. Mindfully tune in and focus. Practice tuning in to an issue, opportunity, place, person, group, or option with your sixth sense. Employ gentle focus to let everything else in your mind fade to the background until what you are tuning into occupies your entire inner landscape. What intuitive hits are you knowing, seeing, hearing, or feeling? Cultivate energy awareness. Okay, this is about your intuition, and they did bring up about the intuition. Okay. I'm smelling like hot chocolate or something. Yeah, I'm smelling like chocolate. They did show me something about the intuition. I'm trying to remember what they showed me about the intuition, what they were talking about. They were talking about how to develop your intuition or something. This is going to help you develop your intuition, or maybe that was part of the pre-download. Let me look at my paper again here. Oh, maybe it was because of the eagle. Yeah, there's a lot about, they're talking a lot about truth here. So I think you're going to be tested, because that's what Maya is. She's about the judgment, right? She's about like the truth. But also the eagle is about clarity and truth. which makes sense because the feathers, right? Oh, and then I just split it on nurture intuitive relationships. Others with a strong sixth sense normalize intuition and provide fresh practices, tips, and tools. Nurture these relationships now to develop, understand, and maximize your intuition. Identify sensitivity and supportive friends, colleagues, and family members, or join an in-person or online community for sensitives. It takes a village to make sense of sensitivity. And on the bottom here, it's cultivate energy awareness. Improving your intuition requires understanding energy, its power, its proximity, its nuances, and its importance. Notice energy, your own, the energy of other individuals and groups, the energy of situations and opportunities, the energy of physical spaces, and the fluctuations in world energy. Name and describe types of energy you encounter. I think this is because they were saying how about the psychics, about because they were saying about the precognitive omens, or people that are like psychics and things like that. Okay, so we'll just read these after. Okay, so let's just move on here and see what else we have here. I want this flipped over first. I just heard them, they just said no, start from the bottom. The typo, seeing the ink is spilt. And it falls under duet. And again, duat is all about the underworld, judgment, punishments, obstacles in your path. And she's all about like the written word. I think you're going to receive something that I don't know if it's going to be like something you're going to want to hear. Yeah, I don't, with the ink being spilt here and that being in reverse, because this is about like, sometimes like the tiny details don't matter, but then sometimes they do, right? So I think this card actually in the reverse is about slowing down and being mindful of all the little things. Because if you're if you're receiving something like some kind of written word, and because it did bring up about like a contract or some kind of letter, because that's what she's about. She's all about like letters, getting some kind of information. There could be something that you receive. If you miss a word, it could change the whole meaning of that sentence. So if you receive some kind of contract, I think it would be important for you to have like some kind of legal advice on it or something. Okay, what's this one here? Mirror. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So when you're being tested, what goes on with that is that they mirror energy back to you. That, like you'll end up running into people that will trigger, basically, because it helps you, see your shadow self. So who or what is triggering you, just like I was talking about here, like it's time to face that. This is your next cycle. This is what your next cycle is going to be. So you're going to be receiving things by, you're going to have people coming at you. Like, that card that had all the hands? And this one about your boundaries, everybody getting into your energy. This is you to learn how to protect your energy and keep those boundaries. This is going to be, this is not going to be, yeah, well, and then right behind it is dance with life. Do something to change your energy. That's what this is. This is what your next testing is all going to be. So you're going to have people like sending you text messages, emails, letters, switching things in contracts. Like it's and I'll tell you, like with the written word, especially with texting, it really does, like, I know it lets people communicate faster, but you miss a lot of the nuances with communication. Because there was something that came up about communication too. Oh, yeah, she's all about communication. That's right. Okay, let's see here. Bitch fire. Stand up for yourself. Oh my God, Spirit. No joke. This is about your boundaries. Bitch fire. I've never seen this card before. So it's kind of blowing me away, and it almost looks like the sun with all that light coming off of it. Stand your ground, and then see all these stars, they're navigating in the stars. They bring up the stars a lot. So you could resonate as like a star seed. So the beginning of this new cycle here, they want you to be a bitch fire spirit. Brilliant beliefs. Look at that. Look at that light. Luminous light force, personal power. Wow, no joke. A breakthrough is at hand. I'm telling you that you're going to have a lot of hard things coming at you. What's this one? Judgment. Yeah. Yeah. So you're going to have a lot of judgment. And they brought up too that card about before I started this, it said something about how not to judge others. It's a way to was it raise your vibration or improve your, I can't remember what it said. They showed me a card anyway, and it was something, it had something to do with basically to raise your vibration or see things in a different way by not judging others or something to that effect. So you have judgment here, and it's funny too because Maat here, she is all about justice and truth and balance. So, she's all about like listening to your heart and, dishonest behavior. Now, that could either be the people around you or this is something that you need to purge from yourself. I'm not really sure. Again, though, this is what your next beginning is all going to be about. I don't think it's going to be an easy one. I'm going to tell you though, but it's a necessary one. Where they have this personal power here, and then they have like bitch fire, stand up for yourself, and then the mirror, who or what is triggering you. With all this written word, and then saw is about the authority and all that. So I mean, it could be, even like, because it's like the picture of the universe, this could even be the world in general, like, what is triggering you within the world. Wow, Spirit. So let's see what else is here. Practice non-judgment for clearer intuition. Having strong emotions and opinions about others is natural, yet intuition is best channeled through an open mind and calm heart. Sorry, because they were just telling me about to listen to your heart. Okay. If you formed an exclusionary fixed judgment about a person or situation, consult someone intuitive and objective. Engage neutrality to avoid narrowing your interpretations. Discern other layers of truth. Again, they're bringing up the truth. Okay, just put them there. Okay, so slow down to center yourself. That's this card, they were talking about slowing down too. And to see who and what is triggering you. This is the only way. This is that introspection that you need to do. And they had me cover my mirror. I'm going to tell you something too, that covering your mirror, because they did, I think that's why they had me cover the mirror, because mirrors absorb and reflect back energy. So covering your mirror can like reset the mirror. You know what I mean? Especially if you're going into a new cycle, which I know you are here, because if you've picked up on this reading and you have these new beginnings going on, like you've closed out a cycle, you're starting into a new one. Okay. Wow. Intuitive. Okay, so slow down to center yourself. Intuitive guidance is heightened, more accurate, and appears more often when life moves at a saner pace. Your sixth sense is less responsive when your energy is pulled in too many directions, rushing around, constantly multitasking, and swamped by responsibilities. Slow your roll for better mystical attunement and to stretch time. And they were bringing up time quite a bit too. Okay, anchor into your energy. Oh my God, look at this. Because the elephant's all about grounding as well, right? You could be having a lot, because elephants are a lot about family and teaching and, they're emotionally balanced. Yeah, they're powerful. They have like this blend. They have like a blend of strength, wisdom, patience, and like compassion, right? They have like an inner peace. Like when you look at elephants, like you can just see how like they take their time. I mean, they can run, they can run and chase you down. You know what I mean? Like they're big and strong, but you know, even though they're really grounded animals because they're so big, they're actually an air sign. Which kind of explains why they're bringing like the eagle and the elephant to me at the same time. Okay. So come home to yourself instead of focusing on others, tasks to be completed, or the external world, just like I was talking about here with this. Stop riding every wave and drop anchor by doing an activity you love or spending quality self-care time alone. Center yourself to feel more powerful, calm, and confident. Your intuition will then stabilize. It's funny how they brought this up, and it was also about slowing down. And it comes right, they had me set it like here with the judgment, like, and then the judgment card and come together. They're going to help you merge your light and your dark together. So you're going to be facing a lot of your shadow work in this next season. Wow. That's tough. That's going to be I'm not going to lie, it's going to be a tough, but just always remember that you hold that inner light within you. Okay, is there anything else here, Spirit? Okay. I think they want me to read something here about this card. They keep showing it to me. Oh, look, I opened it right up on it. That's funny. Bitchfire, stand up for yourself. There are no better way to say it. Someone in your life is trying to burn you at the stake. Maybe you didn't give them something they wanted, or you didn't let them get away with their bad behavior. Either way, they're trying to ruin your reputation. Rest assured, your reputation will stay intact. Silence can be effective, but this is not that kind of situation. Get loud and let them have a taste of your bitch fire. It's funny too because they brought up to me about this negative comment that showed up on one of my videos. And they were like calling me like abusive and all this stuff because I got after my dog for doing something. She was, she was going to attack my cat. So I got after her. And then, as soon as I like knocked her out of it, because I used like a harsh tone with her. And I mean, when you deal with dogs, you have to lower your tone and be like, the authority so that they know that you're the leader of the pack basically. And she was just like, oh, you're just like my ex and you're abusive and you're this and that. And I was just like, like you just need healing, right? And I basically told her I'm not responsible for your emotional issues. Like your emotional problems, those are your problems, not my problems. And I'm not going to let anybody like step over my boundaries. I'm going to hold my space. I'm not going to, allow my animals to step out of line because, well, I'm just not going to. That's just the way it is. I'm not going to allow my dog to beat up on my cat. You know what I mean? Especially where my cat has like a neurological issue. His whole back end like shakes. So, you know, sometimes he does use his claws sometimes. So he probably poked her with his claws, but she will like go after him and like beat the holy crap out of him. Right. And I won't allow it. So she was just like, "Oh, you were just so loving, and then you were just so harsh, and then you were back to being loving, just like an abuser." And I'm just like, "Oh, okay. You need help, lady. You really need to be, you need to take care of yourself, right?" And I just kind of laughed at her. Um, the Hierophant here on the bottom, yeah, just like I was kind of thinking like he was like the Hierophant here. This is learning to master the light and the dark, like it's about the mastering. It's like dealing with, oh yeah, look, because you even have like the light here and the dark here. This is how like you're going to integrate, just like it's going to this next stage of all these triggering that you're going to go through and learning to stand up for yourself and your boundaries and all this is going, your next phase is to learn how to protect your energy. Because it was a card here and she was, yeah, see how she's like, in here she's got her hands up like, she's putting like an invisible bubble around herself, with the hands, like all these people trying to reach into her energy, just like that one with the negative comment, was trying to project onto me, to mean her, but I didn't like call her, like she was calling me names and stuff, but I didn't call her anything. I just said, like, I'm not gonna, I don't know anybody anything, like I am inviting people in to my space to receive these messages, and you either like it or lump it, like if it triggers you, that's your problem, not mine. That's your healing that you need to do, because that's really what I am. I'm somebody that unfortunately to trigger people, and because and the reason why I do trigger people is because I will only put up with their lies for so long. I will only put up with their false, fake lives for like I try to be non-judgmental. I try to, show patience and understanding, because we all have our path. We all have our time to do things and not to do things, but I'm not going to allow that to take my peace. You know what I mean? Anything that's going to interfere with my peace, I'm going to shut it down and I will burn it to the ground with my words. So I'm not somebody to mess with in that sense. You know what I mean? Strength. Exactly. Funny spirit. And it doesn't mean like just because you have strength doesn't mean you have to be unkind. But, I'll only tolerate so much. Just everybody has like their level of tolerance. Look, and the Hierophant back on the bottom. Spirit. They want that over here. Okay. Look, the Wheel of Fortune, times a change. I'm telling you. Oh my God. Because they want to bring her in. Look, and Judgment yet again. Wow, what a beautiful card. Look, and it's trees. And they had me bring out my tree deck. Wow. Yeah, they want you to be into this emperor type. You know what I mean? And the emperor is like a father figure. No joke, spirit. I think that I don't think that they're really so much talking about the earth. I think they're talking about like your soul father. I think this is where they're talking about the creator. Oh my God, and the world underneath. Look at this. Look at that. It's like number 42 here. Wow. The world card. And on the Knight of Wands is on the bottom. This is like about the dreams and pursuing your dreams, fast energy. They were talking a lot about, how like the sun rises slowly. Oh, I think this could be your so when they were talking about the sun rising, I think that has more to do with it's going to be a slow process for you to go through and face all these shadows within yourself, find your boundaries, deal with all these triggers, all of that. Okay, is there anything else in this deck here? Six of Swords, yep. Moving on, definitely. Look in the Chariot. You'll be on the right path. You know, you'll start recognizing too. See, and this is coming out of this, like the Chariot too is all about, you know, going through all those hard, triggering moments, the healing, the, you know, having that strength to do so, right? Okay. Yeah. So this is basically the Six of Swords is really about, you know, it's about spiritual awakening too. And I see that there's two people here. So man or woman. You could even be with somebody, like taking somebody with you. Yeah. This is the transition. This is moving beyond the trauma. And you notice I put it out on the mirror here, the triggering. So, you know, this card has a lot to do with like getting, you know, doing the healing, your personal evolution, you know, moving into, they're trying to bring you into calmer waters here. But with this mirroring, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some work. You know, you notice that this boat's moving very slowly. They don't have an outboard motor. It's just one paddle, one, you know, man. You know, it has like the slow down. Okay, so we're just going to read these two cards and then I'm going to close the reading. So new beginnings and reshape. Okay. Yeah, these new beginnings are going to reshape your entire way you see yourself, the way, you know, your personal power, you know, like all of it, right? Let's see. The 0 is basically beginning. So let's see here. Oops. I'm the hardest time trying to find it. I keep smelling chocolate. I don't know where to find this in the book. Oh, there it is. Whew. Can you feel the potential practically vibrating off this card? There's so much problem solver energy wrapped in those lovely rings, swirling around and around in ever more powerful loops. This is a number of beginnings, of fresh starts, of cycles of creation. You are aligned with the infinite power of the universe. So so dive into something beautiful. Your manifestation powers are at a peak right now. Even when you feel alone, remember your connection to the infinite. So the affirmation is goddess energy flows to and through me. Incredible. Yeah, just like I said, that with this card, it's going to be like about the evolution. It's about like a new spiritual awakening that you're going to go through. So an incredible creative potential, originality, new beginnings, and imagination. This is this card, connection to everything on a spiritual level and inspiring new people to be entering your life. So connection on a spiritual level, you could be receiving dreams. So you could be getting some of this stuff happening, like those precognitive omens. Also, deja vus have a lot to do with that too. So you can sometimes dream And then it'll be like a deja vu, right? Those are like a precognitive. I always referred my deja vus as that was a reminder that I'm on the right track, that I'm on the right path. So this here reshape is, consider this a call to reflect on the things that feel out of whack in your life. What imbalances you have wearing on you? What steps can you take to address them? You hold the power and the strength to implement change in your life. We're not saying it'll be easy, but your angels are supporting you. Remember that the energy you put out is the energy you attract. Adjust accordingly. Take responsibility. That's why they were talking about being non-judgmental. And it's for your well-being by setting those boundaries, setting those boundaries for yourself and for other people, right? So addressing your imbalances in your life, being accountable for your actions and choices. And that's what my is, because she's all about justice, truth, and balance, right? And then duad is about the judgment and punishment in the underworld. Oh, Spirit, you're so funny. Taking a moment to check in and reflect. See with the mirror card here, and making proactive changes even when difficult. So the affirmation is, I heal the habit of fear and embrace the habit of trust. So yeah, that's where they're saying, like, you really have to have the faith. You have to have faith in the universe that, when you're being triggered, and I know it's not easy when you're being triggered, but it's important to take that time to reflect of why you're triggered and then try to heal it. I mean, you could get triggered a dozen times or more before you actually are able to like fully heal it. I mean, you could get, I mean, there's no set number, you know what I mean? Depends on how deep the pain and the suffering is, right? The trauma. So, this is all about healing that trauma. Okay, so that's all I have for you, and I hope this finds you well. And I hate to be the one to tell you that you're going to have a hard cycle coming up, but it's an important, imperative one, because it's a way to develop your intuition and your psychic abilities and all that. So just try to stay as grounded as you can, and take those deep breaths, and I don't know, like, stand up for yourself and remember that your boundaries are very important, like, to make it to your personal power, right? Okay, Spirit, that's all I have. And I'm going to close the reading now. So I bid you a good day and hope this video finds you well. And I'm going to send you all my love and light. Bye, everyone.